Bad news for Obama. Just over half of Americans disapprove of the president's job performance, according to a new poll. That comes as the president prepares for his State of the Union speech tonight. We'll have that and more right here, right now on the News Hub. Good morning and welcome. I'm Simon Constable. And with more on these poll results, which aren't looking good for President Obama, we've got the Wall Street Journal's Neil King. He joins us now. There he is. Thanks for being there, Neil.
Hey, Simon.
So let's go. There's a lot in this poll, right? And it's a Wall Street Journal poll. So tell us, NBC, Wall Street Journal, what is the key thing here that we're basically learning is that President Obama is really not doing well, right?
Well, I mean, I think there are two things. One is not great for the president. The other is pretty good. The first is that if you look back all the way to the start of modern polling under FDR in the 30s, Obama enters his sixth term in the second worst shape of any president after George W. Bush in terms of his approval rating and sort of the sourness of the public mood. And if we went out and asked people, list what you think the State of the Union is at the moment, and only 3% said that the state of the country at the moment is strong. Instead, they use words like deteriorating, divided, troubled, things like that. On the other hand, if you look, we also gave people a list. What do you think are the things that the president and Congress should prioritize, put at the top of the list this year for what they should do? And they listed all the sort of things, for the most part, that Obama plans to push in his State of the Union address tonight. Creating jobs, pre-K education, raising the minimum wage. So on the sort of agenda front, there's a lot of public support for the kinds of things that Obama plans to push forward on this year.
Now, I mean, people are most worried about what he'll do the rest of his term. So we've got a graphic here with sort of, how people are feeling there. 33% are pessimistic and worried about what he'll do the rest of the term. Only 16% are optimistic. And 24%, 1 in 4, basically, are satisfied and hopeful. I mean, that doesn't say much, does it? I mean, this is a country of people who are very optimistic. That is what is notable about the U.S. People are, in general, born optimistic, or at least they grow up that way, and they're not now, are they?
Well, we've seen a definite diminution of faith and confidence in the Obama presidency. There's no doubt about that. And of those categories that you just flashed up there, the most interesting one is the wondering one, the not overtly pessimistic, but just sort of skeptical about whether he can perform well for the rest of his presidency. And that category has been the area that has grown the most. And if you look at the details, it's a lot of kind of Obama supporters. I mean, Democrats, well-educated people, et cetera, who have sort of fallen into that category. So that's a real challenge. And this speech of his tonight, even though, as we all know, State of the Union addresses don't come true and most of the things thrown out in them don't come to pass, but this is still an important sort of reset moment for the president tonight.
Okay, and Neil, one thing I really liked about his call is, what one or two words best describe the nation? And 37%, which is, close to 4 in 10, say divided, and only 1 in 5, 19%, saying recovering. I mean, this again is, pick a word. None of them are looking up, light at the end of the tunnel. None of those words, right?
Yeah, I mean, recovering was the overwhelming Democratic choice of words if you look at who said what. All these other sort of words. And, it's interesting that divided came up first, because it is worth pointing out that Republicans didn't come out of this poll looking terribly well either. They have their overall approval rating as a party is still under a quarter of the country that looks positively on the party, and Congress's own approval ratings are near record lows. About 13% of the public has a positive opinion about Congress. So there's deep frustration about what's going on in Washington, much more so than people feel about their own economic situation or their own lives, which I guess is the sort of silver lining here.
We are deeply dissatisfied. That's what I'm hearing about what's going on where you work and live, not your office, but inside the Beltway. It's always a pleasure. Neil King of the Wall Street Journal, thank you so much, sir.
Take care, Simon.